Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for joining me. This is the morning market review. It's Tuesday and it's the 27th of February. My name is Russell Shaw. I'm a senior market specialist at FXCM. I'm just going to go ahead and bring up our disclaimers before we get on with the live stream. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at the high risk investment warning. And I'll keep this on screen for a few moments. And then we shall move to the commentaries disclaimer, and then we'll get on with the live stream. All right, let's just bring on the market commentaries disclaimer. All right, excellent. Hey, Mia, good morning to you and welcome. All right, let's go ahead, take a look at the real rate. All right, here is the real rate. The top chart is the real rate. The bottom chart is actually the US dollar. What we were doing yesterday is we're looking at last week's candle and posited that it was potentially a condition one of a bearish reference candle reversal. We do probably have condition two, but we don't have condition three. In other words, we don't quite have the reversal locked in. We'll only really know this towards the end of the week or at the close of the week. We want to see if we close below last week's low. And I think one of the big data points for this will be Thursday's core PCE. So just be aware of that data point. The dollar does seem to be showing signs of reversal here. Again, we've got condition one and two of the reversal. We don't have condition three. We can actually probably be a little bit more strict here, a little bit more conservative. Push this line in the sand a little lower, and see if we get the dollar reversal. And what we can do is we can just see if there are potential opportunities opening up for us this morning. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at the daily charts with the hourly charts and just see if we can get some sort of synchronization there. Hey Raj, good morning to you. So what we'll do is let's start off with the US dollar daily chart and just see what kind of information is showing in terms of our zones. This is the US dollar. All right, let's just get rid of the drawings because it's quite messy. All right, so what kind of information can we get off of the dollar? Well, I think the first bit of information that we can get off in terms of the daily chart is that it has moved from zone 1, it's moved into zone 2. Now, although zone 2 is generally regarded as our neutral area, the movement from zone 1 through to zone 2 does suggest that there's relative weakness, and it does look as if it's about to cross into zone 3. Okay, so we may get the movement into the bearish area. What is definitely noticeable is the lack of volatility. Look how small the real bodies are. The real bodies are really just noticeable when it comes to the US dollar. No real long candlesticks, but let's just agree that it has made its way from zone 1 through to zone 2. So there's relative weakness there. Let's take a look at the RSI. What do we have on the RSI? Well, it is below 50, isn't it? It is below 50. So the fact that it is below 50 does suggest there is some bearishness, but it's just below 50. In other words, the fact that it is just below, let's call it on 50. In other words, the momentum's kind of neutral with a bearish bias to it, right? So there does seem to be some sort of pressure to the downside. Okay, that's on the daily chart. Let's go to the hourly chart, see if the hourly chart is potentially giving us some sort of signals that are worth taking note of. So what we'll do is we'll just go down to the hourly chart. I'm just going to bring up the US dollar. Bear with me for a moment. Okay, here it comes. All right, let's move it this way so the camera is not it's not interfering. What have we got here, guys? What have we got here? So we've got a trigger one. Here's trigger one, right? So you can see that the 5-hour exponential moving average has pushed below the orange 10-hour exponential moving average. That's trigger one, right? What else can we see here? We can see that the stochastic has crossed bearishly. Okay, so that's two triggers. It's a dual trigger system. Those are the two triggers. They've been pushed to the downside. Are we going to get a swing? Are we going to get a swing to the downside? So that very much depends on the momentum. And you can see that we are getting towards, we are moving towards the lower quintile. Okay, we are moving towards that lower quintile. It's below 20 on the stochastic. Now, if we hit that lower quintile and we hold on that lower quintile, then it seems to me that the dollar is building up a downside momentum. Now, one thing that we have to point out is that we do have a short-term support here. Okay, so can you guys see it? It even extends further. So you can see support, 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 support. So we want to see if the stochastic breaks into that lower quintile and if it holds, then we should get some sort of movement towards the the downside. And then if we take a look at the daily chart, we should see the daily chart move into zone 3, which is our bearish area. And that would be sort of going back through to our real rate. That would be yeah, you can see that the dollar on the bottom chart potentially showing signs of a key reversal there. It may be preempting the real rate moving to the downside. The big fundamental data point this week that's going to be important there. Remember, Thursday, core PCE. Okay, now if there is some sort of movement on the downside on the US dollar, let's take a look at euro. Let's see what's happening on euro. We'll take a look at the daily chart. All right, and then we'll take a look at cable as well. So let's go ahead, bring up euro US dollar, and we'll take a look at this in terms of the zones. Okay. What do we have here, guys? So here we have the euro in zone 1, don't we? Okay, that's between the upper blue and the upper red. Okay, what about the momentum? The momentum is to the upside. The RSI is above 50. So the euro US dollar showing some buoyancy, just as it looks like the US dollar is showing signs of decline. That makes sense. Let's go down to the hourly chart now and see if the hourly chart is showing us any potential signals in terms of synchronization with the daily chart. Daily chart showing bullishness. We want the hourly chart to show bullishness. Let's go down to the Euro US dollar hourly chart there. Okay, here's Euro US dollar hourly. Remember, it is a dual trigger system, Well, we do have the EMAs starting to show angle and separation. Okay, the actual crossover was right back here on Monday, yesterday, right? Then we had the swing, and now it's starting to show some angle and separation. Just be aware, just like there is underlying support on the US dollar, there is overhead resistance over here for the euro. Okay, so we want to see if we will overcome that overhead resistance. Well, there is a distinct possibility that that does happen. Why do I say that? Well, we do have our second trigger. The second trigger has pulled. Okay, so it's a dual trigger system. So the stochastic pushing to the upside. Now, what we would need to overcome that resistance is that we would need the stochastic to move into the upper quintile and hold. And if we go into the upper quintile and we hold, we should develop some sort of swing, and I think then we can overcome that resistance. Is it guaranteed? Of course not. There's no guarantees in this business, so make sure that you're using risk management, which is money management and stop loss. But we do have some interesting signs on the hourly. Okay, we do have some interesting signs on the hourly. Let's take a look at cable, and then I want to take a look at gold. So let's go to the cable pairing first. And what we're going to do is we'll take a look at cable on the looking at it in terms of our zone analysis. So let's just bring that up. Okay, so now I'm going to ask questions. Okay, so it looks at it as if it is a risk-on day. Yeah, why do I say that? Because the dollar, of course, is a safe haven, and it looks as if money's flowing out of the dollar. So I think there is distinctly a risk-on sentiment that's manifesting here, Raz. Quite right. Now let me pose some questions to you guys. Which it looks similar to Euro US dollar, but that's not surprising, Mia, because we really getting the lead from the dollar, and that dollar starting to push down. So if the dollar starting to push down, well, what's happening with the euro? Which zone are we in for cable, for pound? We're in zone 1, aren't we? And let's put our arrow in. Okay, so we are between the upper blue and the upper red. So there seems to be some sort of bullish bias towards the pound US dollar or the cable chart, right? What about momentum? What about momentum, right? Momentum's bullish. We're above 50 on the RSI. Let's go down to the hourly chart, see if we can get some signals on the hourly. Let's go. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm just sharing the chart. This is the hourly. All right, let's talk about it in terms of our two signals, our two triggers. It's a dual trigger system. Trigger 1, okay, the green 5-hour exponential moving average starting to pull away from the orange 10-hour exponential moving average, right? What about stochastic? Stochastics crossed over bullishly. Now that looks positive. Now yeah, exactly, angle and separation. Now let's just acknowledge the fact that we do have an overhead resistance here, just like the dollar has that underlying support. Are we going to be able to overtake this overhead resistance? Well, it's really going to depend on the stochastic. We need the stochastic to get into that upper quintile and hold. If we get into that upper quintile and hold, then we've got legs here. Okay, so we've got the two triggers. Now we need momentum to do its thing. Okay. Now, the next chart I want to look at is gold. Before we take a look at gold, if there's any questions at all, go ahead and type those out. Okay. But let's just go through to gold, and we're going to take a look at it on the daily chart, and we're going to take a look at it on our, as per our zones. So give me a moment while I just bring up the gold chart, and after gold, we're going to take a look at DAX. Okay. So here is gold. All right, here's gold. Now this is interesting. This is almost a mirror image of the US dollar. What do we have here? Let's start off with where our position is with the zones. We're in zone 2. We're in neutral area. Okay, so we don't quite have that underlying buoyancy that we've seen on euro or that we've seen on cable. Okay, but what we can say here, so we're definitely neutral, that's right. But what we can say here is we have moved from bearish into neutral. So whilst we haven't gone bullish, which is what I'd like to see, we have on a relative basis at least moved up. Okay, so there has been some strength to the upside on a relative basis. Does everyone get that? We've gone from zone 3 to zone 2. That's bullish. What about the RSI here, Mia? Where are we in terms of the momentum? Well, we're above 50. Okay, so it does seem as if there are some bullish tendencies here. We're not showing outright bullishness. Okay, we're not showing outright bullishness. There is an engulfing bullish candle. So I think this is the candle that you're looking at here, Raj. Is that right? This one, the third one from the end, right? I think that's the one you're looking at, which is of course distinctly bullish, right? Let's go down. Let's go down to the hourly. Let's see if there are any hourly signals that we can potentially take advantage of, right? So just bear with me while I go down to the hourly and bring up the gold chart. Now this to me is a very interesting chart. Okay. In terms of the hourly chart, this one actually looks to me really interesting. We do have resistance over there, and we've got resistance over here. So there's no doubt that there are challenges facing the precious metal. But in terms of our signals, signal 1, okay, signal 2 or trigger 2. Now, where are we in terms of our stochastic? Well, this is exactly where we want to be with our stochastic. We've got some sort of momentum that's building. Now, this is the key. If the stochastic holds in the upper quintile, then I think we can take out these resistance areas. I think that there can be a distinct push. But if the stochastic rolls over and we fall out, if we fall out of the upper, then the resistance areas have typically won. Okay, so we just want to be very careful here. We are in a really good position for gold. Whether it takes out the resistance or not is going to depend on if the momentum holds, if we hold the upper quintile. I don't know if that is going to be the case. That's why we have to use risk management, stop loss, money management, right? Now, the last chart I want to take a look at this morning is DAX. Let's take a look at the DAX in terms of the daily, and then we'll come back to the hourly, see if we can come up with some sort of sensible analysis. So bear with me. I'm bringing up the DAX in terms of our zone analysis. All right, let's take out the drawings. All right, what have we got here? So we are sitting in zone 1. It's looking very strong. Not only are we sitting in zone 1, Rash, look how strong this candle is here, going back to last Thursday. And yeah, this week we've had some sort of consolidation. It's been quite benign. It's been moving sideways. Is benign the right word there? It's been quite sort of moderate. It's moved Monday, Tuesday, and today's Friday, Monday, Tuesday. It's just moved sideways. We do have a position in zone 1. It is there's certainly an expansion in volatility as per the movement on Thursday. We've got our RSI here, which is looking exceptionally positive. It's moving around nicely above 50. Mia just saying perhaps a little bit of a flag here. Yeah, definitely looks like some sort of consolidation. Let's take a look at the hourly chart here, Mia. Let's see if we get any sort of clues when we zone in on the price action. So just give me a moment. I'm going to bring in the DAX hourly. Okay, and I'm going to share that tab with you guys. All right, what do we have here, guys? What do we have here? I think this is looking very, very positive. Okay, so as we start off the day, we've got trigger 1. Okay, there's trigger 1. Here's trigger 2. So there's the triggers, they've been pulled. And of course, if we get to the upper quintile, I think then DAX has a nice swing. Now, is that guaranteed? No, of course not. Nobody can guarantee anything when it comes to price movements. That's why I want to just stress again, that's why you've got to use risk management, which is money management, and a stop loss. But this is looking quite encouraging. Yeah, there is this resistance area. Okay, you can see there's this resistance area here. But if we can get into the upper quintile in terms of our stochastic, I think that we're going to be sitting quite good. And we might get that swing there. Hey, Penny, good morning to you and welcome. Pleasure to have you on the live stream. All right. So I think this is a good looking chart just to start off the day. All right, that's as far as we're going to go this morning. Are there any questions? If there are any questions, go ahead, type those in. If you found this useful, go ahead and click on that boost button. Just helps me disseminate the live stream. Only if you found it useful, of course. No questions coming in. Let's wrap up here. Guys. And then I want to wish you guys a good day, a good evening ahead. We will do it all again tomorrow, same time. Thanks very much, guys.